So some of you on Twitter contacted me and asked, Dave, will you go and watch the new Independence Day Resurgence film and then do a video review of it? Because I'd done a Star Wars Force Awakens review video and people liked that style of review. They liked my thoughts on and opinions on it. So I said, okay, I'll go and watch Independence Day Resurgence. And I have to say, in all fairness, all joking aside, it's actually a pretty awful film. Seriously, what did you expect me to say? I mean, this is just another brainless popcorn movie. It's a sequel that nobody asked for or needed. Except a studio executive who said, oh, look, we really need something that's going to compete against Star Wars and Marvel films that we can make money out of and turn into a cash cow multi-feature film franchise. That's about it. Look, we'll begin by talking about Independence Day 1996. By the way, I am going to be giving you spoilers. So if you haven't seen it and you'd like to see it, don't watch this video. Or if you just like to avoid wasting 2.5 hours of your time, I'm happy enough to go through it with you now and you won't have to watch it. Okay, so beginning with the 1996 film, I remember seeing it at the time, and even though I was, 13 when it came out, even at the time I was like, this is a fairly average sci-fi movie, and it began the big blockbuster disaster film genre, really, didn't it? The cities falling apart, getting destroyed by explosions. To many people, the 1996 Independence Day with Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith and Bill Pullman is some sort of monumental, classic, awesome movie. And it's a ride, and I get that. And there is a time and a place for junk food like that. There is a time and a place for films that are just a bit of escapism, although I have a big problem with that term nowadays, because it seems that every movie is nothing but escapism and very little cerebral brain power at all. It was a film that said, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we ain't got much story here, but you're going to see some really cool new CGI effects you've never seen before, because it was all new at the time. There hadn't been a film like it. You're going to see some big, loud special effects. We've got some laughs in there. Will Smith does a great job. The dynamic between him and Jeff Goldblum is awesome. We've got some nice, tender moments, that are kind of schmaltzy, but done kind of well. There's a little bit of soul to the film as well. It's got some heart. It's got some sentiment and character. Like that lovely scene between Bill Pullman and his wife before she dies. You had little moments like that, and there was enough that just made it tolerable. And it didn't go too camp. And it's a little over the top and overly patriotic, perhaps. And you could watch it and be entertained. The novelty's worn off. The explosions and all that, it's not enough. I need some story. I need some character. I need to be made to think. Okay, and I don't like this when people say, Dave, it's just escapism. I don't look into these films too deeply. That's my problem. Our media is dumbed down. Okay, television is fucking dumbed down. At what point are you supposed to be intellectually stimulated nowadays at all? I get it. Like, I have a guilty pleasure for the Fast and Furious movies, all right? They're dumb as fuck, but, I get that. But at the same time, I want a film to make me genuinely inspired or to leave the cinema going, oh my God, I didn't see this happening. What does this mean? And da-da-da-da-da. I want that. And I don't get that anymore at all. Hollywood, when I was in the cinema and the trailers were coming up, every single film, every single one was a sequel. They showed the new Star Trek film, which again, they haven't learned from Into Darkness. It's just another shitty, balls out actioner with zero story. Right? I'm just like, this is not Star Trek. This is Star Wars with the Star Trek name, and you've got one guy with pointed ears. That's it. It's all so generic now. We've seen this before. There's nothing in this film, and you know it when you go and you sit in the theater. There is nothing original. You are not going to see anything that you haven't seen before. And you know that when you go and watch Independence Day. You know that when you go to see, the latest superhero film, of which there seems to be one out every other week. I think it says something very bad about culture now if all we're doing is repackaging the same shit again, the same tired dialogue, same cliched villains, cardboard cutout characters, generic stories. I mean, it's like the music industry. Now they use algorithms. They tell the computers to come up with to create earworms, infectious songs. For Taylor Swift or Miley Cyrus or any of these pop stars, these pop sensations. And that's what they do. They just create this manufactured piece of art, but it's totally commercialized. It's the same with the films. There's some people like Christopher Nolan who, he's sitting on the toilet one day and he gets this lightning bolt moment. He goes, I've got a great idea for a story. There were no writers coming along saying, let's do a new Independence Day film. That was a studio decision. They said, we need a new Independence Day film because that'll tap into this nostalgia vibe that we've been playing on for so long. They tell the writers what to do. They give them a laundry list of things they have to include. They're not allowed to take any risks. They have to basically regurgitate what basically happened in the first film. These writers are commercial writers. They think with a commercial cap on. They don't think with a creative cap on or any kind of innovation in the story. It's not like independent cinema where you actually get genuine ingenuity. In these films, it's, okay, how do we get butts on the seat, right? It's all about what buttons do we need to press to titillate the audience. So for Resurgence, we have Bill Pullman is back, Jeff Goldblum obviously playing David Levinson, and Brent Spiner is back as well playing the crazy professor in Area 51. And he gets a much larger role because I think even though he had quite a small role in the first film, he's kind of iconic to people, that he's a very memorable character. So they expanded it. It's great to see him getting back into a major Hollywood film, I think, because I was a big fan of Brent Spiner on Star Trek The Next Generation. And he gets most of the funny dialogue, like I say. And Goldblum has a line or two here and there. There's even a joke about, when London, I think, is being completely destroyed, and he says something like, they like going for the landmarks, It's the genre drawing attention to its own cliches. Bill Pullman has a good performance as well. His character has been kind of driven crazy by some sort of alien telepathic dementia. He has this kind of connection. There's a few characters in the film, including a new guy from Africa, a new warlord who also has a connection to the aliens. And they talk about this kind of retcon in this alien ship that landed somewhere in the desert, back in the original film, and they were drilling down into the Earth's core, and that's kind of the major catastrophe, imminent danger countdown element of the story in this film, is that the aliens are trying to drill down into the Earth's core, destroy our magnetic field, which would kill all life on the planet. The technology's moved on for humanity. They've reverse engineered many of the alien technology that was left. So now they have anti-gravity, and it's today, but it feels like it's the very distant future. It's a kind of an alternate universe version of today. There's a new element to the film. There has to be something new, and that is that there's a new alien race, another faction that have come about. They're humanity's allies, and they are machine-based, and they're going to help humanity defeat the original aliens who've come back from the first film. And this time, the new alien ship is so massive, it basically sits on planet Earth like a hat that somehow doesn't disturb Earth's gravitational field. There's kind of a sense, like with the Star Wars Force Awakens film, that Goldblum and everybody else, the original cast, are kind of there to kind of serve as a bridge of familiarity for the audience to kind of pass the baton to the new cast of characters. You've got Liam Hemsworth playing this guy called Jake Morrison, and then you've got the son of Will Smith's character from the first film, played by Jesse Usher, a very forgettable performance, very, just kind of very stoic character, which is very different to the character that Smith played in the first film. They couldn't get Will Smith, you wouldn't do it because the money wasn't right, but also I don't think he wanted to be in the film anyway because the script is fucking terrible. So Jesse Usher's character and Liam Hemsworth's character don't get on. It's the usual kind of two characters we don't know, just met. They have some sort of tension between them, some sort of conflict, and we know how it's going to go. One character was let down by the other, feels betrayed, there's some tension, they kind of fight, and then we know by the end of the film, we've seen this a billion times, this constant, classic cliche in Hollywood, that by the end, one is going to save the other, they're going to be buddy-buddy again, they'll bond. I'm not seeing anything I haven't seen before. There's also some political correct bullshit about appealing to the Chinese market. Let's get a Chinese actor, Chinese character in there, say that America and China are the best of friends. It's kind of disgusting because it reminds me of Interstellar. They did exactly the same thing. Like, oh yeah, we use Chinese heavy lifters. China came to our aid, halfway through the film to send us some rockets to fly into space. It's absolute complete bollocks. NASA uses Russian heavy lifters. And this is, again, Hollywood towing the political correct line. I'm not surprised in the next few years we're going to see this very manufactured war with Russia, when the truth is we should be trying to be opening up more diplomatic relations with Russia, but that's neither here nor there. There's one particular sequence in the film that really sums it all up. A CGI mess, another aerial combat sequence very similar to the first major battle in the first film, and it's just the Americans versus the aliens, the primary aliens of the film, and they're just firing at each other, and you can't tell. At one point I was like, hang on, which ones are the good guys, which ones are the bad guys again? That level of CGI, that overload, gets very tiresome, and right in the middle of the film there's kind of a lull, and I was like, I'm really bored. And the resolution to the primary conflict is so slipshod, it's such a major logical jump. It's just, oh, if we kill this giant queen in the mothership, that should be enough to basically defeat the bad guys. And it's like, well, that's just a theory. They don't even know if it's going to work. But of course, because it's just easier to simply go along with that as the plot point, it never has to be tested. Just, that's it. That's accepted as how it's going to go down. In the end, Bill Pullman's character kills himself for no good reason, right? The Queen is coming down in her spaceship to capture the artificial intelligence system that's going to help Earth defeat the aliens. And he fires a weapon at the alien ship to destroy her. And you think, well, that's it then. He's been the hero, he's died a hero, he sacrificed himself. But actually all he did was destroy the ship. And his sacrifice was completely in vain. She escapes, and in the end, the kids are flying around in the spaceships, firing at this creature. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, she's a giant Godzilla running around the desert near Area 51. At this point, Jeff Goldblum's role in the film has been reduced to driving a school bus with his father. That's it. Like, he doesn't do anything at the end. And they're firing at this queen, and it's just pointless. It was like, could you just get it over with? Is there an energy bar? I expected to see like an energy bar, like I was watching a video game. I actually thought that I was going to be watching, I felt like a playthrough. Okay, I thought that I'd look up in the corner and I'd see like a video box of a gamer, with a headset on going, hey guys, sorry I haven't made a video in a while. I'm just here playing Independence Day Resurgence. That's what it felt like. I'm watching somebody else play a video game on a massive screen. And then right at the end, as if you couldn't see it telegraphed a million miles away, they say, hey everybody, we're gonna do another film. There's gonna be a third one because we gotta go off into space and kick some alien ass. So basically what you watched was just a gigantic advertisement for another film. Gotcha! You thought this was a standalone film. Oh no, couldn't have that. Oh, and by the way, there's another thing that really that stood out for me and really annoyed me. Jeff Goldblum, his original romantic interest from the first film's not in the film. I can't even remember if they even referenced it, to be honest. Something happened to her, whatever. And so they introduced a new love interest for him. Apparently someone else that he knew from before. They can never just say, just introduce a brand new character that he's never met and that we are also meeting for the first time, and then build a romance out of that. It's always like, oh, we knew each other, we used to work together, so there's already some sexual tension there, because they're so lazy as writers now. They just want to say, oh, they already knew each other, that way we can kind of brush past a lot of the kind of introductory stages of the characters meeting each other and getting to know each other. No, they already kind of know each other. They have a past. There's some tension, sexual tension. There's some friction. And then we can build upon that, gradually grind it down with this shared conflict that they're experiencing. And then they can fall in love and whatever. And there's no chemistry between them. And at the end, they kiss and it just feels totally forced and not in any way earned. I get that some people feel these films are nothing more than mindless escapism. But why do they all have to be always mindless escapism? No, I'm not trying to escape anything in my life. My life's not absolutely shit, okay? I like my life. I like reality. And if I go to see a fantastical film, a sci-fi fantasy movie, it can have metaphors and analogies. It can have a deeper subtext and meaning behind it. It doesn't just have to be deep. This is all it's here. Just exists on a purely shallow, lowbrow intellectual space. Finally, Independence Day Resurgence's primary problems are not really with the director, or the producers, or the cast, or the writers. They're with the audience being so dumb that they accept this shit. They're with Hollywood outputting this crap that speaks to the lowest common denominator from an intellectual and entertainment perspective. So, if you thought that Independence Day Resurgence was classic cinema, a brilliant film, a great movie, I ask you sincerely, have you seen films